Outrage over tax spending spreading across America. And next week, tax party protests will take part en masse on April 15th, tax day. Neil will be there in the thick of it covering the protests in Sacramento. But many, many more tax parties will be raging. And because we can't be everywhere to cover them all, we thought we'd bring a couple of them to you today. Please welcome Pace Allen of Tennessee, Florida, Patricia Anderson of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and Dave Kirkham of Salt Lake City, Utah. I've got to start with you, Pace. Love the outfit there. For those who don't understand, Benjamin Franklin, I love it. For those who don't understand what these tea parties are all about, enlighten us.
Well, first of all, it's Tallahassee, Florida, the rally in Tally. And we're going to have a lot of fun down here, but it'll also be educational. And what it's all about is our freedoms and protecting our freedoms. The more taxes you have, the less freedom you have, is the way I look at it.
Patricia, is that the way you look at it, or what's motivating you in your Tea Party?
Absolutely. I think it goes even further. It's there's issues in regards to taxes, of course, but it's also about our liberties. And a lot of folks, I would say a huge number of folks, and you're going to see a lot of them on the 15th, they really strongly believe that politicians in Washington haven't been listening to the citizens. We got to get our voices out. We're very concerned about what's happening to this country, and we're gonna talk about it and rally on the 15th.
Patricia, what exactly are you concerned about? What do you want them to hear?
I think they need to hear that, you know, there's those of us out here in the heartland. We absolutely believe that we're not being listened to. Washington's run by professional politicians. It's being run by lobbyists. You've got huge deficit spendings, and Congress is passing bills without even reading them. There's proposed taxes on energy now. There's all the discussions at the UN, and we're very concerned about mortgaging our kids' futures.
David, if we do mortgage our kids' future, or if there's no changes, what else do you think could happen because of the direction that this country is going in right now?
Well, we have a different point of view. My brother and I, 14 years ago, went to an abandoned MiG fighter factory in Poland, and we had a dream to go build a Cobra, which is a car that was built in the 60s. And when we got there, the factory was silent. The lights were off, and the government had basically abandoned their people. This factory produced 3 MiGs a day at the height of the Cold War. And when we got there in 1995, they had, from 60,000 employees, they had gone to 24,000. And at the time, that was a wonderful thing for, you know, an entrepreneur to go and to see lots of men standing behind machines that were silent and not doing anything. And you figured, oh, it was wonderful to put them to work. But as I look back on that now, 14 years later, it was very depressing. And all of a sudden, it's like that's the road. That's the end of the road that we have just embarked upon. And
let me go back to Benjamin, in part because we've got to get this outfit more airtime. But are you also afraid, what's at the end of the road here? What if this doesn't stop, if things don't change, the direction that this country is going in, Benjamin, where do you see us going?
Well, the handouts, bailouts, entitlements don't work. We need to get back to personal responsibility. And if we don't get there, one of the things that's happened is there's more non-taxpayers almost than there are taxpayers. So as some of our founding fathers said, once the electorate and the people learn to vote money from their neighbors and from the public treasury for their own personal benefit, then you have a real threat to our republic. So that's what it's about. So a democracy is mob rule. What we have and we should maintain is a republic. As Benjamin Franklin said, it's a republic if you can keep it.
And I think we're right at that stage where that's the concern. Are we going to be able to keep this? A lot of people are concerned that we're heading into decline as a nation. I think the other gentleman talked about that, and that's very real. And are we going to become a socialist nation like parts of Europe and parts that failed, or are we going to stay a strong country?
Patricia and everyone else, we've got less than a minute. I just want to ask quickly, do you feel like this movement is picking up steam? Patricia?
Absolutely, it's picking up steam. You know, these tea parties were started with grassroots activists. These are not partisan events. There's Democrats and independents and Republicans and libertarians
David, what about
all coming
you?
to these events.
Well, like I said, we've seen the end of this road. You know, we were there at that factory.
Are people
when
picking up on your message, though? Do you feel like a lot of people are starting to resonate with the general public?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I tell them. It's like, we've seen this. We know where this is going, and people lose their jobs, and the people who pay for this are really the working poor. And that's what we've seen in Poland, and that's what I keep telling them. We've seen the end of this road, and you end up with a society, when it's socialist, where the moral foundations of the society
Finally,
disintegrate.
Benjamin Franklin. How many people are you expecting this week at your Tea Party?
We will have at least 1,000 people. I am really hoping for a lot more, but I'm quite sure we're going to have 1,000 there on the steps of the historic Florida's capital here in Tallahassee.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody.
Have at least
Listen,
5,000.
protest is the most American thing you can do, whether people agree with you or not. I'm glad you were on. I really think it's a big mistake. The mainstream media seems to be missing out on this. Your voices are getting louder. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Protests, disagreements, Pastor Rick